better say your prayers, you motherfucker. So, that title. Am I calling Mario Land 2 one of the greatest games of all time? No. When you look at what Mario Land 1 is, and then you look at what Mario Land 2 is, I think most people would agree its status as the successor to the first game is well earned. If the job of a sequel is to take what worked in the prior game and expand and improve upon it, then Mario Land 2 has got to be one of the most successful attempts of this task in gaming history. It's night and day. I still admire 1's tiny minimalism, but 2 actually looks like a Mario game. It's 3 times longer too, and it introduced Wario. He's a yellow Mario character. I don't know where I was going with this. And this guy Wario, he's taken your castle. Yeah, you have a castle. While you were out saving Daisy's life, like a chump, Wario was back home, pilfering your house. And because of the Mushroom Kingdom's completely backward squatters' rights, Sorry, I shouldn't get political. See, even the plot is a major step up from the first game. Instead of the same damsel in distress shtick, we get a more open-ended narrative, with a less heroic, more selfish motivation that I find 10 times more interesting. I mean, yes, it is a plot that's simple enough to print on a Laffy Taffy wrapper, but it's the little things. It gives this game a morally gray tone, which is a total breath of fresh air for a Mario game. If you fail, the kingdom's not going to be doomed, Mario's just going to be homeless. Another thing this game does better than its predecessor thematically is blending its weirdness with the series it belongs to. I still enjoy the overall strangeness of Mario Land 1, but 2 is able to go bizarre in ways that are eyebrow-raising, but still cohesive to the Mario canon. It's got weirdness, but can't be mistaken for anything other than a Mario game. The art represents a total mastery of the Game Boy's graphical capabilities. It accurately captures the look of the console games while still having a style of its own, and it never feels compromised by the hardware it's on. The sprites are much larger than those in the first game, but they still retain their cuteness. Like comparing Duplo to Lego, it pushes the experimentation spearheaded by the first game even further. It has enemies that aren't exactly weird for a platformer, but haven't appeared in Mario before, like ants, birds, and sharks. And then there's wild cards even for a Mario game. You got Dracula, you got little Jason guys, Muppet tongues, evil brooms, witches and eyeball umbrellas, Binky Barnes, Jimmy Carter, a heated bowl of milk, Cannonball Pigs, the kid with an upside-down face from Family Guy, tiny dancing toy bears, there's a 2002 Volvo V70 as a boss. And I'd say the majority of the enemies here make only single-world, some of them even single-level appearances. This degree of enemy variety is unprecedented in the series, even today. And I'm sure there's a decent argument that a smaller cast of baddies allows the player to learn their behavior and develop an unwritten language on how to deal with each of them. But while that's all fine and good, I just like having all the enemies. Besides, it's not like their behaviors are that complex. This one moves up, this one moves down. It's the same principles as driving. Observe, predict, and jump, and you'll be fine. Other graphical quirks include this funny-looking version of Small Mario, heart serving as 1-ups, and giving Mario a feather when he collects a fire flower instead of changing his overalls. Bring it back! And look at Wario. He's got that deranged look in his eyes. This guy, he stole your house. Your McDonald's-themed house. He's also quite massive, too. He's twice the height and width of Mario. And for some reason, rather than taking the time to add a single enemy to his castle, he chooses to spend all his free time pacing back and forth on the roof. Maybe he's making grape wine up there, stopping. Maybe he's making grape wine up there. But while he's doing that, you'll be out collecting those coins. And what kind of levels await you? Easy ones. Disregarding the last level, which I will talk about later, it's hard to determine whether 2 is more difficult than 1. It's partly because of the differences in length, but it's also because the difficulty is differently distributed. Mario Land 1 has your standard difficulty curve, except that the flying levels are probably the easiest in the game, despite coming at the half and end points. See, this is already getting complicated, but Mario Land 2 has, like, mini difficulty curves. Because the levels can be played in any order, you can't have anything too crazy, because it might be one of the first things the player experiences. I would say that they try, at least subtly, to steer you into a specific world order. Treezone is definitely the closest the game has to a true first world. Not only does it almost have the typical grass or forest theme that you'd expect for World 1, it's also the easiest. Oh wow, look at its boss. Wow! Try memorizing that attack pattern. Then after finishing Treezone, the closest zones are Turtle Zone, Micro Zone, and Space Zone, which they discreetly discourage you from attempting early due to it being only accessible via this Hippo Bubble level, and which is definitely the hardest zone in the game. Yeah, never mind, it's not that deep. Instead of one continuous difficulty curve, Nintendo decided to have multiple mini-curves for each world, so level 2 of Halloween Zone will be harder than level 1. Yeah, I think I may have jumped the gun when I called Mario Land 1 the perfect starter Mario game, because I think it's actually Mario Land 2. It's easy like Mario Land 1, but it's also more akin to what a typical Mario game plays like. It's the perfect gentle nudge a would-be fan might need to get into the franchise. Mario Land 2's levels are straightforward, laid back, and just generally not too demanding of the player. But I wouldn't say boring. I was having a great time during my whole playthrough. Except maybe the last level, which we will get to. I honestly don't see how you can't like Mario 2. It's edgeless while still being fun. What's to dislike? The levels aren't Super Meat Boy, but they're still creative and engaging, with every level set piece getting properly utilized and expanded upon. Now I will say that it's a far cry from the eventual 4-step Kisho Tenketsu level design that was perfected by future entries like Mario Bros. U and 3D World. Although one thing I noticed is the addition of some branching paths, which aren't actually really a thing in modern Mario levels. See, while your newer Mario levels aren't devoid of optional side rooms and hidden areas, they're diversions to the main path, not alternatives. You'll eventually always end up back on the main path. So a modern Mario level will look like this, but Mario Land 2's levels will sometimes look like this. Not to say that Mario Land 2 is devoid of secrets, though. There are hidden goodies planted around the levels if you're vigilant. Actually, the way some of them are hidden are very Odyssey-esque in how they reward you for outside-the-box thinking. These are cleverly hidden secrets. There's actually a few that you can't access with a mushroom, and then there's this one, where you gotta break the blocks with fireballs, and then damage yourself to fit in the hole you made. Reminds me of the time I had to burn the overgrowth on the door to my crawl space and then barely squeeze myself through it. What an Easter that was. There's also the optional challenge of ringing the bell at the end of each level. Fundamentally, it's the same as going for the top exit in the first game, but here it feels much more organic to the levels, without the limitation of it having to only use the basic platforms. I actually think I prefer the bell to the flagpole. They're pretty much the same thing, but I don't know, ringing a bell is just more enjoyable to me. So actually, all a bell really is a curling stone inside of a hollowed out gong. And that's what a bell is, essentially. Where am I? Your reward for ringing the bell is a bonus game, and this time there's 2 of them. This little follow the line game, and this claw game. Very nice having 2 of them. Let's give 3 claps for having 2 bonus games. 1, 2, 3. So, Mario Land 2, good levels. Although, there is one thing about the bonus levels that really pisses me off. Several levels in the game contain alternate exits that will lead you to optional bonus levels. These exits are usually found behind optional pathways that are higher in difficulty than the rest of the level. So that's all good, you think? Sitting there in your SpongeBob armchair with your Frosted Cheerios and your Coffee is My Religion t-shirt. Well, no, it's not all good, because if you fail the bonus level, you don't get to just retry it right away. Mario walks back to the level you entered it from like a dog with its tail between its legs, and you have to find the secret exit again to retry. I had to do this like 6 times for the second bonus level in Pumpkin Zone, but then you get to... and you can retry the bonus level instantly, no problem. which isn't Mario Land 2. How about the bosses? They're simple, but they're fun. Quite a step up from the first game, because you can't just, go around them. Or through them. Treezone's got the bird with the totally bonkers, bananas attack pattern that you're never gonna memorize. Turtlezone has this squid thing that you fight underwater. Actually one of the harder bosses. They're pretty fun. They got big sacks. Pumpkin Zone has a witch that shoots fireballs that light these pots, which lifts their lids. I didn't know these were spikes at first, by the way. I thought they were background decor. This boss actually has an interesting risk-reward thing going on. She'll appear on either side of the screen to shoot her fireball, but which side is randomly chosen each time. So you can either stand on one of the side pots, meaning you'll either be really close or really far from her, and that has another layer of risk-reward, because being close means you're more likely to be fireballed, but you have an easier time jumping on her. Or you can stand in the middle, slightly elevated pot, meaning you'll not be too close or too far, but you'll have to space your jump as to not hit the spikes above. Cool boss design, although apparently analyzing it takes longer than beating it. Mario Zone's boss is... no, it's not Mario, it's these pigs. Each of them are defeated in 3 hits, and each of them has their own bounce pattern. Simple but fun enough. I'm not sure why they went with pigs for a zone that takes place in a giant Mario robot. Maybe Nintendo was trying to comment something about Mario, which is a little rude actually. Microzone has this rat who skitters from pipe to pipe and drops down from the ceiling. Their speed makes them hard to hit, but I found them to be pretty easy when I realized that they only drop down from the center of the room. And the last non-Wario boss is Space Zone's Tatanga, who was the final boss of the first Mario Land. And fittingly, he's definitely the second hardest boss in the game. He just throws a lot at you, and I think in this circumstance, the anti-gravity makes it harder rather than easier. Except maybe I'm just an idiot, because this dude just stands in one spot the whole fight and they don't get hit once, and I am stupid, I guess. But when all the bosses are done, it's time for the finale. Enter the castle, and get ready to die a lot, because this castle's really hard. It's actually so hard that it kind of evens out the difficulty. One of the reasons this game is so easy is because it showers you in lives. Not only are there plenty of 1-ups, but there's also a new Super Mario Bros. 2 amount of coins scattered about. There's so many coins that there's a triple-digit coin counter. New Super Mario Bros. 2, whose entire gimmick was how many coins there were, only has a double-digit coin counter. Did he just say coin counter? What the hell? Okay, that's kind of funny, actually. While the coins themselves don't net you lives, you can exchange them for tries at the roulette machines in this little hut. Look, there's even an option for 999 coins. They knew how many coins there were. So during the main portion of the game, if you've ever played a platformer before, you're not gonna ever be in danger of seeing the game over screen. But Wario's Castle... man, I seem to remember beating this place on my first try the first time I played this game, but either I have severely worsened in my game playing ability, or that just didn't happen, because it took me like 2 hours to finish it this time. It's mainly this first section, where the hazards are placed in scientifically the most annoying places possible. Like these piranha statues are just asynchronous enough to drive you insane, this giant one is timed to go off just as you land right in front of it, and the spike ball at the end gets me every time. Oh my god. Then the next section has you riding these checkerboard things over lava. The first 3 are easy peasy, but this last one, oh my... Then you got these hand things, the third of which is nearly impossible to time correctly. And then there's this stretch of single block platforms that really push your abilities with this game's controls to the limit. In fact, I think it's time we... yeah, that's right, here we go, let's get into the movement. Overall, Mario Land 2 feels much better than Mario Land 1. 1 was certainly serviceable, but 2 brings more of the grace and fluidity that one comes to expect from the series. You get a much better feeling of Mario's weight, he turns in the air much quicker, and there's honest-to-God momentum! You can slide now! Mario's also got the spin jump from Mario World, allowing you to kill enemies in one hit and break blocks beneath you. Although a bigger issue I have with the controls is the ability to jump higher by holding up. And yes, you are sometimes required to do this. I've never liked games doing this, because it means you'll always be doubting if you can make a jump without holding up or not, and then it's either hold up the entire game or hope that your regular jump is good enough. The only game I've played with two different types of jump that I feel warranted it was Plock. One jump is shorter but lets you attack during it, and the other is much higher, but you can't attack. The movement is, overall, pretty good. It feels nice, but it's imprecise. It'll get you through the main game perfectly fine, but it's not a good fit for precise platforming. Mario's got like a 7-foot vertical in this game, even without holding up, meaning short hops aren't really that short. And more importantly, it feels like there's way more momentum in this game than normal, making it a lot easier to slip off platforms. And that's what makes this section of Wario's Castle so difficult, being precise with controls that are better suited to more forgiving platforming. That's the end of my control tangent, by the way. And I think now is a good time to mention that there's no checkpoints in this whole level, so when you die, it's back to the beginning. Oh my... No! Why?! Anyway, you beat this room, and then the rest of the castle actually gets much easier for some reason. This part pretty much plays itself, and these swamp-like things are very slow and easy to trigger. Then you fight Wario's brothers, Ball Wario 1, Ball Wario 2, Ball Wario 3, Ball Wario 4, and Ball Wario 5. And then the final boss is Ball Wario 5's brother, Wario. Wario himself is a pretty good fight, feeling difficult without being unfair. He's got 3 forms, with the last 2 seeing him use each of the game's power-ups. 3 forms, 9 hits, and 1 blushing gamer with a smile on his face. That's Wario and Mario Land 2. Despite my troubles completing it, I still enjoy Wario's Castle for adding some speed bumps to Mario Land 2's open road. It's a bit frustrating, but it's a good challenge overall. It actually might be the hardest final level in the entire series. With Wario defeated, Mario reclaims his castle, and order is restored to Mario Land. I guess is where this game takes place. I don't know. In any case, I stand by my assertion that Mario Land 2 is one of the medium's best examples of a successful sequel. It substantially builds upon every single aspect of its predecessor, and offers a Mario experience to rival even its more technologically advanced counterparts. Throughout the years, gaming sequels are becoming increasingly similar to the games that came before them, sometimes feeling more like mere expansion packs. And while these examples are still perfectly quality titles, it's a marvel when a game in this day and age feels like it's really worked hard to earn the title of a sequel. They don't come around often, but when they do, they're a sight to behold. Oh, I forgot to mention there's a carrot power-up that gives thank you very much for watching. If you like the video, you can click like and subscribe, and that will help me, and your support is very much appreciated. Thank you. You can also follow me on Twitter for words. My next video, I don't know what it's going to be exactly. Good chance it won't be Mario or Wario related, but it just might be. I don't know. So hey, have a good